What's up, Internet? What's up, Internet? What's up, Internet? So, what's going on? Happy Sunday to everybody out there. First things first, I should probably apologize a little bit for not doing a live stream yesterday morning, but to be able to disclose, on full disclosure, it's Victoria's birthday weekend. So, we got tied up doing stuff for Victoria, and it has nothing to do with you guys or me not wanting to show up, but definitely Victoria is the priority in my life, and I had the day off, and so that meant that it was time to do the stuff that Victoria wanted to do. So we've spent a lot of time working in the garage, working in on the shop, and some organizational stuff, along with what's the word I'm looking for here? The word I'm looking for is shed. We also built a shed, and I have like 5 of the live dashboards open here, so I'm gonna go ahead and close some of those. We ended up building a shed, and that took a lot longer than anticipated, I believe. I believe the anticipated amount of time was a couple of hours, but it took a fair bit longer than that. Those pre-assembled boxes full of parts are not necessarily an easy thing to put together, and you know, it takes a lot more time to, like, you know, figure out what screws go in here and what 4675B part goes into what thing, and so it just takes longer than you thought. Adam Paquette, what's up? First comment in the chat. I would like to say you win something, but I don't have anything to give away to anybody at this point in time. But we got that shed built. We got a bunch of organization done. Had some birthday stuff. There would be more birthday stuff. Weber has arrived. Oh, good. He's got the wrench next to him. If anyone's ever moderated, it's probably going to be Matt Weber, who just showed up. He's the guy who moderates. If you are the kind of guy who likes to spam or whatever. Glad to see Matt here on a Sunday. Sunday is a good day, I think, to get Matt to show up. But anyhow, so we got that shed built, and we got some stuff done in the shop. We got some birthday stuff done. I didn't forget that it was her birthday. I just forgot that we were going to definitely be prioritizing her over this weekend. I got her a bunch of presents and stuff, and that's all handled. Didn't forget. So that's that's what's been going on this weekend, and I also have some video here of some of the stuff that I did in the shop. Basically, the shed that we were assembling is like kind of the shed that you've seen all over the world. Those what are they? They're just metal, you know. They're like tin thingy-majigger. But anyhow, we finally got it together today. We got it like sort of 80% done yesterday, and then we had to do the rest of it today. It is a lovely 80-degree day here in Tacoma, Washington. This is the first nice day of the year, and if you can read the calendar down below there, it is May 21st. So it's basically been half of a year of bad weather so far. And you really only need to count back like 9 or 10 days to get it to be about oh no, because that's not how months work. So 5 months, right? Wait, how does this work? June 1st isn't the middle. July 1st is the middle, right? Yeah, I don't know either way. X sub 4146, good evening from America. Shannon Lee, where are the shrimp, bro? Well, honestly, I have been cataloging all of the shrimp nonsense and all of the things that have happened. My shrimp got boiled. A lot of things have died. I've been cut off my thumb. Cars were stolen. Cars were broken into. I believe there was a small fire at one point in time. I don't know, man. There's just been a list of bad luck. Bad luck stuff has been happening. But I honestly persevere one way or another. We're going to just keep rolling along. I'm trying to do most of the videos now as a live stream like this so that honestly I can get more content up and I can have more interaction with you guys in relation to if you have questions or whatever. I mean, it sucks when you post a comment up like on a video and you know, like I'm super busy and I can't really get back to it, you know, for like a week or whatever. So I'm trying to do most of the videos like this, and we'll run through some of the scenes of some of the stuff I did in the shop here in a little bit, because I put a bunch of work into the computer here and it seems to be running fairly well. The GPU is running at 11% is what my video card is now running at, and my CPU, the computer chip if you know, is actually only running at, let's see, it's kind of bouncing between 24 to 29% on the 8 cores. So we're a lot better off than we were before. We were having all sorts of issues. The memory is only running 1600 megs, so 1.6 gigs of memory right now, and this is pretty much exactly what we want when this stuff works. I bet you, I would gamble at this point that the camera will probably crap out at some point in time, but the stream will keep going, as I sort of have an idea how to repair that at this point, mid-stream. So actually, let's go to scene 2, because this is what I was talking about on Friday. So this computer, in the video I have to do this in a weird way. So that computer right there, that white computer, is that really old computer that I had that I believe we talked about on Friday, that it needed some work in order to handle the live stream. So I put a new CPU, a new video card, along with some other things. I put a new fan in it. What else? I put a new hard drive in it and a couple other things. And then we had to go through the updating, because it hasn't been, that computer has not been online for probably 9 months, maybe 10 months, somewhere in that range. The updates that it was cramming through took almost 5 hours to complete. The file size that it downloaded was absurd. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was sitting there going, I think it was probably like 4 gigs worth of updates or something. Something crazy, some crazy amount. Took 5 hours to update, which put it into the middle of the night, which meant that I didn't really have too much time left to get to Saturday morning. But I'll tell you this, so I've got it fully updated, I've got it running. It's running fairly well at this point in time. It's coming along fairly well. But I will say this, the old case that it is in, the fans rattle like hell. So I have it turned off right now, and I'm probably going to have to swap it into a new case, because taking all the fans out and putting all the new fans in is just about the same as swapping out the case. So I might end up doing that. So I might end up doing it that way, just get a new case for it. It actually runs really well with that new 8-core chip that I put in there. Isometric Aquariums is asking, where is my fish porn? If you've been following the channel, or like I just talked about a minute ago, all of my shrimp died, all of my plants boiled, all that stuff happened because of a failure from moving. And I've built out a whole new fish room. We actually have another new tank in there. We have a 180, a 180, a 240, and then we're going to have a 120 in there, are going to be those main tanks in the fish room. And then I also have a 110 that will probably run as the quarantine tank, which will probably be somewhere else. We're going to be building out aquaponics this year, a greenhouse, along with the garden beds. The garden beds are probably going to be the next thing, because we really need to get planted. We need to get a lot of our stuff planted to be able to take advantage of the season. Luckily, it has been the wettest and coldest year on record in Washington State. It's literally been the wettest year on record in Washington State. Which means that the growing season has been pushed out because of how wet and cold that it has been. It got warm a little bit in March, and things started to sprout, and then boom, everything got knocked down again. So luckily we'll probably get We'll probably get a little bit of luck on our side if we're able to get planted within the next couple of weeks. We'll be able to get the growing season going, and then as we get the greenhouse built and the aquaponics running through it, that'll be the upside of being able to go 12 months out of the year once that system is running. So we'll be able to do updates off of the aquaponics all year round, and be able to kind of like give an idea of what's happening with the farming, with the urban city farming, whatever you want to call it, with that stuff coming along. And so that'll be coming up shortly in the future. I'm going to say probably 3 weeks, somewhere around there. I have a couple more house remodeling projects that I'm working on in the meantime to get those buttoned up in order to fund moving and these building projects that I constantly do. So I have to build stuff in order to be able to get money so that I can build more stuff, which I don't know, seems mildly antithetical to be going about work that way, but that's just the way that it goes down for me. So I'm actually looking forward to it, and it is great to be able to have a day like today to remind me like what is coming up. The summer months are fantastic in my part of the world. It is amazing to be able to be hanging out, you know, like 75-degree weather, sunny all day. Just doesn't really happen up here that much, but it does for like 4 months straight, and that, I think yesterday was the kickoff of that, although they're saying that the rain's going to come back this week and be back to 45 degrees in almost June. So it has definitely been a weird weather year, that is for sure. X-Sub, your laptop is finally on its final warning before I launch it from the balcony. I will say this, Friday I was strongly considering buying a new axe that was solely dedicated to destroying computers. I figured I would paint it all black or something like that, maybe a skull and crossbones on it or something, and put it up on the wall as a continuous threat to these computers, that I would have the tool on hand that would destroy them. But Vicky, of course, talked me off the ledge. Instead of destroying things, she just encouraged me to get back to work on the stuff. So now that white computer over there, which is commonly referred to as ICE, kind of dopey to name my computers Fire and Ice. I get it. I know it's dopey as hell, but I have to name them something so that I know what they're called. That one's called Computron, Computron 6000, and the one over here is called Fire, and then that one's called Ice. So on the network, they all kind of make sense when you get down to it. And I'm kind of a cheesy goofball anyhow. Corey is Aquarium Co-op on the chat. Corey, you'd be interested to watch the aquaponics and plant beds build out. That stuff will all be coming fairly soon. I think I just talked about this a minute ago, but I want to actually respond directly to you. That stuff is all going to be coming over the summer here, building out that project, plumbing everything in and automating that system, and then everything will eventually be draining into the koi pond, which we finally have our design for the koi pond. Gonna say 95% solidified between Victoria and I, that we'll both be happy with. The amount of work that I can do, the amount of money that we have going in, and then the amount of space that we have are all those considerations. And it seems to be that we are super close on finalizing at least our design. The chicken yard is going to get some work this week because, like I said earlier, I need to get the raised ground beds done really soon. But luckily, like I was saying earlier about the weather, we're getting into that point in time where I can work about 16, 17 hours a day and not feel like I want to. I feel like I want to like jump off a cliff or something like that. So a lot of that stuff's going to be getting done really soon. Taihang was asking how am I going to start the nitrogen cycle. I'll probably drive up to Edmonds and Aquarium Co-op at Corey's place and steal one of his filters when he's not looking. Or I'll probably just end up going to the one of the local stores around here. I'll buy a new filter and trade it for a used filter that they have so I can kickstart my cycle quicker on the freshwater ones. The reef tank that is going to be going in, I know a lot of people are excited about that, me included. I'm probably at the top of the list of excitement. Well, maybe I'm number 3 or 4 on the list of excited people, because I've talked to a few people that are almost outrageously excited for me to start doing reefs again. But the reef, of course, live rock and all that stuff will come in and start my cycle up pretty quickly, and then I won't be adding any fish for probably a 2-month period, right around there. If I, what's the word? Oh yeah, it'd be like 2 months before I really get any fish or anything added into the reef, because I really need to get it super stable before I really start adding coral and all that kind of stuff to it. Potato is the guy who's actually going to be helping me out with a lot of his live rock and all of his overflow from his fish room, which I'll be making a video of that probably in a month or a month and a half-ish when I go down to Oregon. He lives in Oregon, I live in Washington. I'm gonna drive down there and I'll shoot some video of his fish room and all of the crazy projects that he has going on down there. And you guys could probably meet him video wise or whatever. And if he comes up here before then, we'll probably end up sitting down and do a 1 or 2 hour like kind of Q&A podcast, shoot the shit kind of thing, depending on that. I sort of live a fairly isolated life in the fact that I don't spend a lot of time around people, so that's kind of the reason why I haven't shot in a lot of videos of like other people's places. I know I shot some video of Matt's when I was there. As Matt was saying in the chat that I need a 3D printer. The last thing I need is another project. He has been hooked on the 3D printer. He's been running that thing 24 hours a day for like a month now. But when I was at Matt's house, we shot a little video. But I'm realistically one of those people that likes to actually just enjoy what I'm doing when I'm around doing it. So I like shooting stuff at my house because it's a really kind of my house or the property or whatever is, because it's a really controlled environment, and I don't. There's really not going to be like anybody accidentally showing in or me accidentally showing something that somebody didn't want out there or whatnot. And also on top of it, the metadata that gets captured in video and pictures these days is really off-putting to some people. For instance, if I was to go to somebody's house and they really didn't want anybody to know where their house was, that stuff can get hacked through the... Oh, I just bashed the mic, sorry about that. But that kind of stuff can show up in metadata. Not necessarily, but it can from time to time. People can figure out where somebody's at or whatever. I don't really care. If you want to come over to my house, you'll just get shot. Not a big deal. Not only that, but the whole house is hardwired with a alarm system, so I'm not that concerned about it. Well, although sometimes people steal cars from outside here. So, but those are kind of the main reasons why I don't really shoot video when I go places and stuff like that. I don't want to like accidentally put somebody up online that didn't want to be online or this or that and the other thing, and just not because of the legal side of it, but mainly just because of the personal aspect that there are some people out there that just don't like want to be on stuff or whatever. And I don't know why I'm rambling on about that. I'm obviously have left scene 2 on for too long. The white computer. See you later. In the background, there'll be a time-lapse videos as we move through the scenes here of me building some of the shelves. I figured it would be good to shoot some of this because this is the basic carpentry that goes into building an aquarium stand. This isn't really, I don't end up wrapping it in nice wood or anything like that, but this is kind of some of the basic stuff that I know a lot of young people watch my channel and they're like, how do I build this? How do I build that? This will kind of give you an idea of how to go about building some of this stuff. As you can see in the video, I have a ton of plywood cut out there. Those are 8-foot by 2-foot plywood sheets. Those are 4-ply. They're not super thick, but I would get, if I was going to be doing a really big tank with this, I would be getting a 5 or 6 or 7-ply plywood just to have that little added assurance of a little more stability on the base, if that makes sense. The first part that you want to do is build a box around it and not attach it to the plywood yet, but you want to make sure that your box is shaped exactly to the plywood sheet that you have. So don't build the box ahead of time and then come back and go, oh, my plywood's too small, and then have to go buy another $30 sheet of plywood. The plywood is what really adds up in the cost of doing all this kind of stuff. The actual boards and all that, the 2x4 boards stuff is actually pretty cheap realistically, especially somebody like me who has all the screws and hardware and all that kind of stuff. I have bins of all that stuff. So I generally don't have to buy hardware whenever I'm doing anything because I just have tons of it from, doing remodel projects and all that kind of stuff. And I get all my blocking done and put everything together and measure everything in just this nice level surface that I have outside made by the plywood. The concrete outside is total garbage and it's going to have to get broken up at some point in time, but with that plywood sheet down I have a nice flat area where I can work and I can put this box together. Later on in the video you'll see me hanging the actual shelf, and this is generally how you would build. So like I said, this is like building an aquarium stand. This is like building an aquarium stand that's built into the wall. This is generally how we would go about doing this if we were going to insert an aquarium into a wall or against a wall that would end up having a fascia built around it to have it inset into the wall. And I know that some of this is kind of confusing as I ramble on, but Adam Paquette was asking Corey, who is the moderator on his stream? I've never said anything inappropriate, but I can't comment. Oh, so I guess Corey's going to look into it for him. Corey from Aquarium Co-op says, I'll bring bacteria with me if I get to nerd out in the new fish room for a bit. Yeah, Corey, you can come down to Tacoma anytime you want, man. That is totally cool with me. I mean, hell, I've met you in person not quite a few times, but a few times. You're definitely vetted, man. It's fine. You can PM me on Facebook or whatever, and I'll send you my address and schedule, and we can figure out a time to definitely come on down. You'll have to do the video. You'll have to shoot the video, though, because I'm super lazy with that kind of crap. I like to set up my camera and shoot a time lapse. But Matt was saying he didn't know what I was talking about because he's been running his 3D printer like a maniac. Just because he's ran through 2 miles of filament. 2 miles of filament through his already. I'm surprised we didn't do a Q&A interview while you were here. Yeah, when I was in Michigan at Matt's house, like I was saying earlier, more often than not when I go to like hang out with people and whatnot, I just like to hang out with people and be around. It's like if I shoot a video when I'm off hiking or any of that kind of stuff, it's almost always like no audio, set up a camera somewhere and just shoot a time lapse or a time lapse while walking or whatever. Because I like to actually enjoy the moment. Dwayne Kitcher sent me a big comment recently, which I very much enjoyed. And there was a big comment recently. He was talking about some stuff that made me think a little bit, especially in regards to what he was talking about. Had to do with basically like meditation, mandalas, and a few other things. But that's some of the stuff that we try to do on a daily basis. We try to meditate every single day, and it's something that, since me getting sober, is something that I try to focus on, and that's living in the moment. I try to live in the moment and pay attention to what is going on right now. All this other horse shit doesn't matter. It's not all the other horse shit doesn't matter, but stuff tomorrow, stuff yesterday, all that stuff doesn't matter right now. Is really important. So I really try to do that. I definitely meditate. I definitely do my own style of mandala. I essentially do a resentment list, if that makes sense. It's the same kind of thing. It's more of just like an active thought process in regards to what I'm thinking about that is negative, in regards to like for a random name here, like Steve was messing with me today or whatever, and I'm all upset about it. So I'm going to write out all that stuff, and then I'm going to burn it, because there's just really no reason to have anything like that hanging around. But it's a process that I learned in recovery that helps get through some of the carrying around this like negative thought that happens in my head. It's something that I do fairly often. And like I said, I burn it or shred it or whatever. I got a paper shredder right down here. But same kind of thing. It's like a dream catcher or any of that kind of stuff. But this one's just more of a more analytical way that works for me a little bit better, because I can actually think about what is negative, think about what my reaction to that negativity is, and then be able to brush it aside once I realize a lot of it has to do with ego. I almost always make my bad decisions based on what my ego feels, not what my heart feels. And living in the moment is kind of like thinking about what my heart's feeling about, and not my ego. Like I got to be the coolest guy in the room or whatever the fuck, you know, any of that stuff. It's really not important when you get down to it. Yeah, we took Matt on a 5-mile hike. I try to do as much hiking as I can. My odometer on my phone is set to 12,000 steps a day, I think. And I try to hit that every single day, make sure that I don't leave my phone on the charger too long. That's something that will almost always get you if you have one of those phones that tracks how many steps you take in a day or how far you've gone or whatever. It'll always screw me over when I look through the old stuff and go like, oh, why did I only take 1,000 steps in this one day here or whatever? A lot of times I have to leave my phone on the charger because I'll be running a podcast or a speaker and walking around all at the same time, and it'll just annihilate my phone. So sometimes that screws up, but I definitely try to make sure I get and hit that mark every single day. As we move through some of these videos that are happening in the background, they're kind of a time lapse of me walking around doing work and stuff. You can see how I've made the box and I've hung it superficially up on the wall, and I have it clamped and this and that to make sure that it is perfectly level with the earth before I attach it to anything else. Because these drops, especially in this room back here, are going to be completely different. So let's say that top board that is up there is 6 feet off the ground, right? So let's say it's 72 inches up to the top. Now if we make this drop all the way over the other end of the room, and we just cut a board that is 72 inches just like it is on this side, then assemble this thing like that and then put it up and lean it up against the wall, it'll be completely cockeyed, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting these boards and then dropping them to make sure that they're going to sit level with the earth, and then level, period, with the floor. Once this is kind of one of those construction this is one of those construction project methods that falls in line with an old building like ours. It's completely settled. It probably was never even level when it was built. Looking at most of the boards and stuff, they kind of follow the slope of how they did it. So they probably never even had a level and really cared. It probably wasn't all that important at the time because this is a garage space. So once they got that all done, they just kind of left it. But like I was saying, so from on the face, how I'm facing the video, which might be confusing or whatever, the left-hand side of the screen where I'm working right now is 73 1/8. Puts this end level. Then you go over to the other end over here. It's 70 and like 11/16. So it gives you an idea. There's a couple inch drop. And as I said, if I had put all the boards, if I just cut them all at 72, assembled the thing, and then just brought it in here, I would have laid it in that corner and it would have been all super cockeyed. So. And what's going to end up going on this is all equipment. So it's not necessarily as heavy as a fish tank, but I'm using the same methodology for building a built-in fish tank, is that all this stuff might not be level, but I want this to be level and the drop to sit level once there's a bunch of weight on it. So the weight that's pushing down will just sit and not have any kind of shift or movement or anything like that. Worked out pretty well. I have all of these bins. I have all of these bins that I need to put into my shop, take out of my shop, put them in my shop, take them out of my shop, put them in my shop. You know, it's like I have like 2 totes dedicated, 2 of these little tote bins dedicated to drywall stuff. You know, it's just all drywall stuff. It's all sandpaper and tape and handles and mud knives and sponges and nonsense, and that stuff needs to come in here, get dropped off, then be able to just take it right back out when it's time to go back out, hit the road. And the previous benches that I had were too short to fit 2 totes underneath, and we also at the old house, for instance, we also didn't have any dedicated space for this stuff to go. because we were constantly moving things around because everything was mobile and needed to be moved around and nothing could be permanent. So luckily with this installation here, it's actually 12 lag bolts that are holding this all in place because this isn't necessarily a permanent fixture. It's built like a permanent fixture, ostensibly built like a permanent fixture, but I'll be able to remove it later to pull down this shiplap and redo the insulation and redo the walls in here at some point in time. Well, video quality has become shitty. Who knows why? Weber doesn't know why, he's just telling me. Well, I'm sorry if the live stream gets crazy. I think it's Matt. I think Matt, the guy who refuses to pay for internet service, it's probably your issue on your end. Hold on a second, I'm actually going to mute this for a second because I need to cough. I wonder if my mute button worked or not. It was very difficult to push. This Blue Yeti was a fantastic microphone for about a year. Now it is turning into a total piece of crap. This cup right here looks like a disposable cup, but it's not. This is my coffee cup. Oh yeah, I know when it's muted. When it blinks, it's muted. I do know that. Matt's internet is shut off. I guess it didn't mute. I'm coughing into the mic. Sorry about that, guys. It's probably because I have the microphone running on different scenes. But either way, sorry about that mute failure, guys. But like I was saying, with the shelves being built here, I want them to sit with carrying all this weight, because this thing's probably going to have about 11 to 1,200 pounds sitting on it at all times, but not the top shelf, just this middle shelf where all my equipment can just get pounded in there. And move everything in and out as I do remodel jobs and all that kind of stuff. And all my plumbing bins and stupid crap like that need to be able to get out of the way. But the old house, I ended up installing some shelving that ran along the top and installed those into the wall because it just, whatever, it got to a point where it really needed to be done. And they worked really well, but I could only put one box, so it was really, or one bin. So realistically, what I really needed to do is to be able to stack two bins, and then have whatever light stuff up on the top shelf, and then be able to have all that stuff jammed in there. And have everything in here and be able to take it back out. See, in that video I hit my head on the bucket light. Everyone has a good laugh about the bucket light whenever they show up here. And I always find that to be wildly entertaining. But the reason why I was doing part of this is that because I need to get a lot of this stuff out of the way in order to move forward on the fish room. I actually have the door installed on the fish room. I have a little insulation and trim work to do, but that's probably going to wait. I got the 180 is moved in there, the new one. So I actually have the two 180s now. The reef is going to end up going into the tall 180, and then I just need to go pick up the 120 so I can swap out Vicky's tank. And then I'm going to need to clean the new 180 because it has a blue background and a ton of coralline algae, ton of coralline growing in it, which is going to be not that big of a pain because I actually soaked it down with vinegar already, and most of it just pops off pretty easily. But I got to get the background built, which is mildly important at this point, to get the background handled. And once I get the background kind of built, I'm actually going to be cutting the sections and doing a little bit of new scapage, but I don't want to tell you guys exactly how I'm going to do it because I'm actually going to show you down the line. Oh, Thomas is asking if my mod for my desk, for my keyboard worked out. As a matter of fact, it did work out fairly well. I'm actually going to have to bolt this thing. I got to do some through and through bolting on this shelf down here. for the keyboards down below here, but I've actually been doing so much computer work that now I've just got a whole bunch of stuff strewn all over the place, which I probably need to get that sorted out sooner than later. So that's probably what I'm going to focus on, is getting the room organized. And then I have the shelf for the other desk, and I'll probably end up running these desks end to end just to kind of make a better space. And then if you guys can hear how hollow the audio is in here, like how kind of echoey it is, it's because this room is fairly empty, so whenever I talk, my voice is kind of bouncing around off the wall, so I need to get some sound deadening material, which should be arriving sometime this week. So I'll throw up some of those panels and hopefully get rid of a fair bit of the echo that goes on here when we do the live stream. But we have reached 35 minutes in the live stream. We don't have any questions to answer other than Dwayne had a comment. He worked with a guy that ran a big bread truck and had 5 slanted shelves with a foot on each side. Everything was in 5-gallon buckets. I get what you mean. You have all these 5-gallon buckets stacked on a slant. A little while ago, I actually saw a guy that was running a very similar setup for his plumbing truck. So it's a bunch of there's a bunch of buckets that are like kind of sideways at an angle like this, and then built into a big slant going all the way up. So you think like a bookshelf, like shelf, 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 bucket, 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 all at that angle, and then he just had all of his parts thrown into each bucket, moving like up to the top of the truck, which seemed to work out very well because he had all of his 1/2-inch parts were here, 3/4-inch parts, 1-inch parts, so on and so forth. And then he had like all of his ABS and all that kind of stuff all sort of organized via that bucket system, which seemed to work out pretty well. I actually wanted to build one for the fish shop at some point, and I think I was going to, but for whatever reason I ended up not doing it. And I can't really tell you what the reason was, because I can't remember what the reason was why I didn't end up doing that. But it would be really convenient to put one of those together so all those miscellaneous small parts can just go into the stack of buckets like that. And that's a good reminder. But right now I actually have these Husky totes with like an open side on them, and they're all stackable. They seem to work out pretty well. The only downside is that they are quite a large container. So if I throw like one type of something in there, it's actually kind of a pretty big thing. So it's not working out for a lot of small stuff, but I think I have an idea that might work. But it's a good reminder. I might end up doing a stack of one of those buckets going up, so I could like do rags and all that kind of stuff in there. Joe Black's asking, am I going to start my tanks with plants before adding fish? Yes, most decidedly yes. That is exactly how I would recommend anybody who was like restarting their tank or starting off from the beginning. If you're brand new or any of that kind of stuff, work on growing your plants, and your tank will be healthy enough to add fish to it at whatever time. I mean, that like I said, that's the advice that I would give to somebody. So that is the advice that I would do, is start growing plants in your tanks, and you'll definitely end up with a healthy enough tank to sustain your fish and all that kind of stuff. So that is definitely how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get my tank scaped and growing and all that kind of stuff before I add any fish. There's just really no reason for me to throw fish in prematurely and just go like, yeah, everything's fine, and then come back to dead critters later. There's not even an upside there. I could just take $40 and just throw it out the window in my car, and that would be friendlier. Than giving it to a store and then killing what I bought from the store. It seems weird. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I would just probably take the money and throw it out the window if that was the thing. Corey's asking, have I done any of my artwork, like reverse glass style, for a background of an aquarium? Yeah, actually, if you go through some of my old videos, I used to do that quite a bit. I used to make a lot of art for into the back of tanks and stuff. I'm not huge into it at this point, but I used to. And realistically, the thing is that like if I'm going to be changing that kind of stuff around for myself, a lot of the products that I use, the stuff that I use is expensive. It's not cheap. Just going to give you a quick example right here. So, anybody? So that painting that is right back there is a failure of Steve McQueen, but I made a different Steve McQueen. Now, the paint that I use just to do that painting is 3 colors of painting: white, black, gray, right? I always mix down from grays and blacks and white and all that kind of stuff to make something, but you need basically those 3 colors in order to make just a black and white. I make these black and white pixelated portraits, something that I like to do. Now, that canvas itself costs about $60 to make, between gesso, staples, the canvas, wood, cutting the wood, time, all that kind of stuff. It takes quite a while. This is about $60 to make it, and then each one of those paints that I use for that canvas right there, I have to shell out about 70 bucks because I buy in bulk. I buy a bit of a bigger bulk. I buy my paint in kind of bulk, but it's still $70, $70, $70. You start adding that kind of stuff up, burning through paint to just goof around for the back of aquarium and stuff. I don't really like. I'm not motivated to go do that and just burn up a bunch of money because it is sort of a set cost. It's not like I can just go kick a tree over or something and go like, I've got wood to build something. It's pretty much a set cost for that paint because I don't make paint. I have made paint in the past, and it is an extremely laborious project, and I would rather just purchase high quality paints that I like to use because I'm not a paint maker, and I enjoy learning how to do it, but it is insane how long it takes to make paint. So back to how I was kind of, let's bring that all back together. Yes, I have painted the backgrounds and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily my niche either. It's not necessarily something that I do artistically necessarily. Typically what I do is I do normally like commission pieces for wall hangings, murals and that kind of stuff. Potato just asked, have I put any thought into the logo he sent me a while back? Yes, I have. I've sketched up some stuff for your logo that you sent me. I don't think it's that great yet, so it's still just a work in progress, but it will be getting to, it'll be a little while before I realistically have it done. So I think it'll work out pretty well once I get there. And I'm really kind of working on the styling is the big issue. Like if I was making something for a company or whatever, I really have to work through a lot of different styles in order to get to a point where I can send a finalized project and or some examples of what I'm doing. So since I'm doing it as a favor from my man Potato, I don't know. For my man Potato, I'm doing it for you, bro, so it can't really take up work time. That's unfortunate, sad time. I think is it Taco Sunday? It's pretty much taco day every day. I don't segregate my taco days. I certainly don't. Although I think today we're going to go do some old school burgers, I think that's what we're going to go do. Shannon Lee says, sorry, you, Corey, and Bob are my go-to guys for my now tank room that my wife will hate, but you guys are awesome, thank you. I don't know who Bob is, but I know who Corey is. And Corey's the shit. He's a good guy. That's a good dude. Thomas is asking, what do you think about corner bow-front aquariums? I like corner aquariums myself. I really do. I've never had an application for one in my spot. I've never really had one. The one weird thing about one of those 90-degree corner corner bows. Those are the ones I kind of like, the ones that go in the corner. They kind of just mess with your eyes when you're trying to see stuff. Like perspective gets all weird and kind of think things are bigger than they actually are and all that kind of stuff. CJ's Aquariums, what up, man? Everything is good with me and my recovery. Past 3 years, week and a half ago. But the one thing with those corners is that they get really weird perspective when you look at them. And a thing that comes to mind is that we went yesterday to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was a really good movie. On a personal side, a side affair. I can't believe we had to wait 3 years for that storyline. It was just stupid. But anyhow, back to what we were talking about. When we went to Guardians of the Galaxy, it was the same kind of perspective thing because we saw it in 3D, where you have the glasses and you can take them off, put them on, take them off, put them off. Your perspective gets really weird by the end, and you start to think like certain things are like legit or not. I've noticed the same thing with those really rounded tanks. You start to just get a weird perspective on what you have in the tank and what's going on in there. Is just the one issue that I've ever found from those. And Matt brought up a good point. Cleaning that little edge line on the side, on those corner ones, is real tight. But it takes just a little bit of extra arm wetness to get in there. What's going on here? Bob is Steamfot Aquatics. I still don't know who Bob is. I'll look him up. I'll figure out who that is. What is my favorite substrate to use? Fluval Stratum is by far my favorite substrate. It pretty much tests exactly like ADA Amazonia. It works pretty much exactly like it. It tests pretty much exactly like it, and it's cheaper. I did a video about a year ago, something like that. I did a side-by-side comparison of $100 of each. So I basically bought $100 of ADA, and I bought $100 of Fluval Stratum, and you basically get, how much more was it? You get like a third more. You essentially get like a third more with the Stratum, so it's basically just a budgetary thing for me. I like the Stratum better because it works just as well as the ADA, and you get a lot more for the dollar. I mean, it may have changed by now. I haven't really shopped around to find out what was going on pricing wise, but when I did that video a while back, I found out you just basically get more volume when you go with the Fluval over the ADA. It's definitely my favorite to use. It's the most versatile as far as plants go. You can use it in brackish tanks, you can use it in low pH tanks. High pH tanks don't normally have plants in them, so I haven't really tried that, but I did try some in a high pH tank 3 or 4, how long ago was that? Well, I did a planted tank with aragonite, and the pH, I think I was running at 8.2. I think it's 8.2. I think that tank was running 8.2, 8.3. So pretty high pH for a planted tank, and I think some of the, I had some stratum in there, so, but don't quote me on that. I'm kind of delving through my memory, which as I get older, things are compounding in my brain and things get knocked out the back end. I couldn't remember somebody's name the other day, it was crazy. X-Sub was saying, transferring soil substrate from one tank to another, any thoughts on possible problems? The possible problems is, so soil substrate, if you're talking about like a dirted tank, if you're talking about like a Wallstad method tank that is dirted, Wallstad tanks are awesome. They are the worst thing ever to move. Start over with your substrate if you have a Wallstad method tank. And anyhow, if that's what it is, that substrate probably costs you about $4, so I really wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're talking about moving something like ADA or Fluval Stratum or something like that, generally what I do is I will drain the tank down about halfway, and then I will, so sick, I'll gravel vac the last bit down at the bottom, then I'll get the rest of the water out, and then I use a shop vac with a liner in it. to get the rest of the substrate out, and pull those liners out, stick them into buckets, and then once everything's bucketed out, then I'll know which layer is which to go and build it back together again. If you go out into my back area, I guess I could probably shoot a video of it. There's I have about 40 buckets out there right now with substrate in them that have little markers on written on the side of what they are and what to which tank they came from and which one they're going to go into. But I haven't really had that many problems with moving the tanks like that. As Matt said, just expect a mess. I've done it, and it's definitely doable. Yeah, you're just basically just gonna have to do a couple extra water changes once everything's moved over, just to make sure that you're keeping your water a little bit clean there. Aquarium Co-op, I remember that substrate video. Does the Fluval Stratum have the ammonia release issue also? They both have the exact same ammonia release. That's when I was saying that Fluval Stratum and ADA have tested almost exactly the same. As far as I know, they are coming from the same manufacturing plant in southern Japan. I put this is like 3 or 4 years ago. I put a ton of work in to try and figure out exactly what was going on, and they come in from the exact vulcanized substrate plant, like manufacturing facility, if that makes sense. When I say plant, it gets confusing, but the manufacturing facility seems to be the exact same one, and then gets packaged elsewhere with a different wrapper on it. Like I said, it tests out the same, it interacts the same, it smells the same, it smells exactly the same. The plants seem to grow exactly the same. As I said a long time ago, it just seems to be a volume versus cost issue. If you're in Asia, it's going to be much cheaper for you to buy ADA because it is distributed, it's packaged and distributed from over there, so it doesn't really need to be flown anywhere. Fluval is, I believe it's produced there, then shipped to either Germany or America, where it's packaged and then released, so it's a little bit cheaper here for the Fluval version, for the Stratum, against the ADA. Now, I'm not telling anybody 100% or not, I'm just telling you guys what I looked into, what I found into it is that it seems like these products are coming from the same place and they're just packaged into a different package later. But yeah, it has the exact same ammonia release, which is great for cycling a tank. Honestly, it's great for cycling a brand new tank. You don't have to add anything else into it. You don't need to go get a dead shrimp out of your freezer, throw it in there to try and cycle your tank, or any kind of chemicals or anything like that. It's actually going to cycle the tank, and you can focus on growing your plants and pay attention to your cycle. Do your little bit of water changes, and your tank will actually cycle and start getting beneficial bacteria. If you're adding plants in, more often than not, that's going to add a little bit of beneficial bacteria, but that ammonia in there will feed the cycle and keep it going. That's why I've almost always advised people to just spend a couple extra dollars, get the Fluval Stratum over gravel or anything like that, throw some plants in there, and just start working on your ecosystem. Have I thought about doing one of your tanks using one species only fish? I did that before with my crystal shrimp, my big ass crystal shrimp tank and my crystal shrimp colony. I will probably have one of my tanks being a specific species ish. If that sort of makes sense. I'll probably have a shrimp tank, and then I'm probably going to have a community tank. So the new 180 is probably going to be the community tank, or vice versa. It really depends on once I get my plumbing layout more finalized than it is right now. Right now it looks like horse shit. It's kind of a mess. But once I get my plumbing finalized, I'll be able to move on with which tank is going to get what. I think realistically, the shrimp tank in the new 180 is probably going to be my best bet, because I can take my time to scape that one up a little bit differently, because I have to change the background from the blue to a more friendly coloring with the thing that I'm going to do that I can't really say what I'm going to do. So once I get that background done and stuff, I think that's probably going to be the best for the shrimp tank, and then do the 240 as a large community with probably Apistos. Apistos seem to be the front runner right now for what I want to do, and then I'm probably going to build off from what those guys want in their tank, and then go that direction and try and stay one way or another. Something really cool that happened this week is was it Crispy Aquascapes is so generously sending me a package of plants. So I'm waiting here to find out what is going to come before I can get anything else. So kudos, thank you. I don't know if I don't want to say your real name on here, but Crispy Aquascapes, I believe is his YouTube handle, is sending me some plants. Super cool, man. That is realistically the best way you could help somebody out like me. The stuff that I lost, I just want to get back. That's it, man. I just want to get my plants going again and stuff. A lot of my plants are gone. Some of them are on the brink of life support right now, but I'm really trying to nurse those guys back. Joe Black is asking any good fish stores I can recommend. There are a lot of good fish stores in Washington. Well, Aquarium Co-op, obviously, who's up in the chat right there. He's in Edmonds. Aquarium Zen is in the Ravenna area of Seattle, which is a great shop by Steve, is the guy who owns that. It's a great shop, a little expensive, but he's probably got what you're looking for if you're a planted tank guy. Red Sea Aquariums up in Shoreline is pretty dope. I don't really have anything in the south end here to give you any kind of review on any stores yet. I'm actually going to start going to a couple of them, and then I'll be getting back to you guys just to give you kind of my personalized view as to some of them down here. And the main reason I can't give you a review is I can't remember the names of the stores down here. I've only been to them a couple of times, and Petco and PetSmart don't count in my book. But the local stores down here, there are some really dope ones. There's a really big one I hope has been rebuilt since the last time I was there. One of their 2,000-gallon tanks exploded, had a blowout, and last time I was there, and they were in the process of rebuilding it. But we are about to hit the 1 hour mark. And I'm coughing. I can tell because when I talk for an hour non-stop and I don't have a guest here or anywhere. That's right, Matt Weber says we went to Prius while we were there, and that place was dope. But that was in Michigan. So I don't know. I would need to know an area. If you guys want to throw comments on this video, it is going to process once we sign off, and you can pop back on and throw comments on. Probably sometime this week I'll be posting I'll be copying the super chat. We'll be posting somewhere in the video, like right down here. I'm gonna post the up, down, right there, right where my finger is. Now my finger is dirty. I'll be posting the super chats right down here in the video, so those will actually be showing up. If you guys want to super chat, those will show up into the video later on. Yeah, Prius Pets was dope. They had like the koi pond runs throughout the store. You go over little bridges and stuff. That's pretty dope. But anyhow, I've gotten up to the hour point, and it'll be time to go to birthday dinner with Victoria. And who asked me? Somebody asked me a question, kind of a personal question. I'm gonna hit it up later. Because I don't really have too much time to hit on it right now. What was the name of the cute fish? Cute fish. The next live stream, I'm gonna answer your question. You were asking me a question, and I'm gonna answer it next time. So I'm gonna run through the names right here because we're about to sign off because we're about to hit the hour. Joe Black, Potato, of course, the lovely moderator Matt Weber, Thomas Brethel. He's right there in the chat. I've known that guy for 20 years. We already said Joe Black, but we'll say it again. I love your name. Logan Bonneville, Aquarium Co-op, X-Sub 4146 for sure. Cole Schramm, thanks for coming out. Logan Bonneville, I think that's one of Corey's super fans. CJ Aquariums, dope to see you back alive again. Shannon Lee. Oh, and Corey throws up the first super chat of my channel's history. Thank you very much, Corey, man. That's awesome, dude. I'll probably be putting that towards buying plants at your store. Or Crystal Shrimp or whatever when it comes down to it. Hey, if I forgot anybody's name and didn't mention you, Kevin Hayes and Dwayne Kitchell, Adam Paquette, of course. If I didn't say your name, I didn't mean to miss it. That's what's going on. Thanks again, Corey, for throwing in to chipping in or whatever. Anyhow, that's 1 hour. I gotta go. I'll hopefully be back tomorrow after. I think I'm demoing a barn tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't cut my other thumb off. All right, guys. Later. I was gonna really want to log out, exit. Yeah.